Welcome, everyone, to the Bucks County Living Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Neff, your real estate resource in Bucks County. Today, I am joined by Anna Lawler, the owner and founder of Lumberville Candle Company. Welcome, Anna. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Thanks
I'm
for
ex-
having me.
I'm excited to have you. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you hail from? Where do you come from? What's your background?
Sure. So I've been living in Bucks County now for about 25 years, specifically Doylestown for the most part. I moved here when I was about 12, without giving too much of my age away. But so I mostly lived in Doylestown aside from going to college, which was only in Villanova, so not really that far anyway. And then after college, I kind of struggled with finding a job. My major was communication, wasn't really sure, kind of a vague major. So after looking for jobs for a while, I eventually stumbled into hospitality. And my first job was actually in the town of Lumberville at 1740 House. It's a bed and breakfast, like a kind of like boutique hotel bed and breakfast. So I worked there for a few years and really fell in love with the town of Lumberville. And then eventually I moved on to working at the Wedgwood Inn in New Hope. And then from there I went into like corporate hotels, specifically Hilton hotels. Started at front desk, worked my way up to general manager. And then fast forward, I had my first child, well, my only child, New Year's Eve of 2019, New Year's Eve baby. So at that point, I actually decided to be a stay-at-home mom because general manager and a mom it's an on-call job. I didn't think it would really work out that well for me. And I decided I wanted to start a small business, specifically something I could do on Etsy because I really just like love that platform and the audience is built in. So I just kind of was brainstorming what is something I'm actually passionate about. And I just thought back to my mom, like growing up. She actually passed away about 8 years ago, but growing up, she would always have candles burning like throughout the seasons, and it was always like really comforting. I love the scents, and we would always go mostly to Bath and Body Works together, and always pick out the ones that we really liked, and then try new ones. So it was just something that I always loved candles from growing up that way, being around candles. So I thought of, why don't I try to make candles? But then I just actually thinking about it, I was like, that sounds really difficult. Kind of thought maybe I had to be like almost a scientist or something to do it. So I just went on YouTube and I found so much information. Like YouTube is amazing, as you probably know. So many tutorials and videos, and it just made it so less intimidating. So I ended up buying a soy candle making kit off Amazon and just totally loved the process. It made it really simple. So then I was like, if I'm actually going to do this, I just need to keep moving forward. So I got all the ingredients from suppliers in Bucks County, actually, and kind of just started from there, making it and getting set up on Etsy. And that was in September of last year that I started.
Wow, that's incredible because I feel like being the general manager of a hotel,
Yeah.
it's a lot. In a
Yeah.
previous life, before I was in real estate, I was working at a cleaning chemical company in Bucks County.
Okay.
We were selling chemicals to other businesses across the country. I worked directly with restaurant owners and specifically hotel management, housekeepers, maintenance engineers, and general managers, all levels in the hospitality industry. And it is such a time demanding job when you're the general manager. The hotel is your life. There
Yeah.
not much of a life
Yeah.
outside of that. So
Definitely.
I think it's wonderful that you were able to have a child and quickly realize that I have to be here for my baby,
Yeah.
and why not do something that I'm so passionate about, and something that is like super nostalgic
Yeah.
and feels good, and like actually do something that you enjoy. And I'm sure you enjoyed like working in hospitality,
Yeah.
but it's
I like
difficult to
people, so
yeah.
it
That's
was
what I'm
like,
saying.
yeah.
You're such a people person. When we first met, a couple minutes ago,
Yeah.
it seemed like we just kind of hit it off right away, but it is such a time demanding gig in the hospitality industry, and to find something where you're able to balance that kind of home life and work life, and you found your niche in candle making.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing, especially if you're passionate about it, because does it feel like work?
Right. No, it doesn't. It's actually the actual process is just like so relaxing to me. Like I look forward to it, which is nice because it sometimes can be rare to find that with any job or a small business even. So
Exactly,
yeah.
because if you do something that you're passionate about, it feels like an opportunity. It doesn't
Right.
feel like a job.
Right.
At least that's how I feel. And I'm glad that you feel the same way.
Yep.
That's incredible. So, you got into candle making. Was there something specific about soy candles um, that kind of sparked your interest more than a typical paraffin candle or a beeswax candle or anything like that?
Sure. Well, I know specifically with Etsy too that I don't know about all of the audience, but a lot of them are into, handmade and kind of the all natural lifestyle. So I knew if that was going to be my main platform, I wanted the product to be like as natural as possible. And then just kind of looking into the process of candle making, I learned more about different candles and, that many of the bigger box stores mostly use paraffin candles. Sometimes they might have a blend with more natural waxes, but for the most part, it's paraffin candles. And so I did more research on that and realized it's not as good, for you, the environment. It's made from actually a byproduct of petroleum oil, which is non-renewable, and it's when you burn the candle, it releases some toxins in the air. So for all those reasons, it just wasn't the direction I wanted to go into. So I started researching different waxes, and it seemed like soy was pretty much my best bet. Like there's so many waxes, more than I even realized existed. But in terms of cost and the benefits, it seemed like that made the most sense for me and what was more commonly used in the all natural candles. So that is renewable. It's good for the environment. It's clean burning, and it actually burns longer than paraffin candles.
That's great. And for those of you watching and listening at home, I did my homework on different types of waxes of candles. So soy is definitely one of the more green and sustainable ones out of all of them. Paraffin is like your typical candle that you would buy at like a big box retailer, something that is loaded up with chemicals and scents, something that might not be as natural and good for the environment. So soy candles has some of the least amount of impurities in there when compared to your other typical candle.
Right.
So that's wonderful. So what's kind of the history of Lumberville Candles? I know you started. How did you land on the name? How did you land on the packaging? How did you really, because you don't live in Lumberville now, correct?
No, I don't. I go there a lot and pretend I live there, but I don't currently actually live there. I live in Ottsville, which I love Ottsville as well. But yeah, so as I had mentioned, after college, my first job was in Lumberville at the 1740 house. And then even prior to that, my family and I would often go to the Black Bass Hotel, like more for special occasions, holidays, for meals there. And I just love that place. I kind of want to live there. So I just really fell in love with Lumberville. It's just such a cozy, cute river town. And I do hope to live there one day. There's not too much real estate there. Maybe you can help me eventually.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Lumberville is such a beautiful little village, right?
Yes.
Right on the Delaware River.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few miles north of New Hope,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look it up online, it's still called a village.
Right, yeah, I guess it's technically a village. Yeah,
it's still considered the village of Lumberville.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know where it is, and
Right.
I'm hoping to put Lumberville on the map because
Yes,
it's such an
me
adorable
too.
community.
Yeah, no, it's really special and charming for sure. So that's kind of, so I knew that I wanted for the name to be like Candle Company, and I wanted to have probably some sort of town. I thought of Ottsville, it just didn't sound as good, it didn't roll off the tongue as well, and so then I was trying to think, is there like somewhere closer that's special to me? So then I thought of Lumberville, and it's also, it's kind of like a rustic town, which is kind of the vibe I was going for my candles and my branding. So then I thought of that and the little like pine tree as my logo, and I just kind of like went with that.
So it's like the homage to the quaint town
Yes.
that is Lumberville.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do love it. So what's your inspiration for scents? Because you have a lot of them.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
where do you get your inspiration?
So scents can be overwhelming because there's just so many that exist. Like if you go into a supplier, there's looks like thousands of scents that you can sample. So you can kind of get lost in all of them, but I try to mostly, again, like going back to, Bucks County and Lumberville, try to mostly do more like Scents relating to nature, like the seasons, the landscape, more floral scents or fruits as opposed to more like artificial or like food based type scents. So pretty much that's kind of more or less my inspiration. And every, like most candle companies, I try to have up to 4 scents for each season. So like I had my fall scents, Christmas. I even did some winter scents just because winter's kind of depressing. So I was like, oh, let me try some winter scents to make
It gets
more
dark out
enjoyable.
early.
Yeah.
It's dark out early.
Yes.
It's cold. It's snowy.
Yes. And then I just finished, or I did my spring scents, and I just finished my summer scents. So I try to have like a range of also more, not as like less strong to more strong scents because everyone's like you could love one scent and the next person could say, oh, that's disgusting. Everyone has a different preference, and I like pretty much all my scents, but I'm also want to appeal to like a larger base and everyone's different preferences. So
Exactly. So you have 4 different scents for the summer.
yes.
What are the scents that are rolling out for the summer months?
Sure. So I have the names here, and one other thing to mention, I have like a little description for each label. So I was going to read one of those for you to give you an example, and the listeners. But so I have Summer Linen and Ocean Driftwood. They're more of like kind of your Northeast beach type of, when you think of going to like the Jersey Shore type situation. More of those types of scents, and then I have more of like an islandy vacation scents. One's tropical citrus, and the other one is island sun.
Ooh,
so yeah.
that sounds really nice.
So yeah.
So what is which one's your favorite scent out of the summer scents?
Mine is definitely tropical citrus. It smells like a vacation. Like I need to go. When I smell it, I'm like, I need to go somewhere now.
Yeah.
But,
I need to start lighting those when I'm all stressed out with.
yes,
with
you
work
should have
sometimes.
them. Like you should give everyone.
Yeah.
I should give everyone here one.
Yeah, it'll smell like we're on vacation,
Yes,
not at work.
yes.
So-
And you can get that wall hanging that has like the palm tree.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, put in the whole background, the whole ambiance.
yes. So I'll just read. So all of my labels, I try to have like a little description or vignette that kind of describes the scent or takes you to like maybe like a memory or a nostalgic moment, so that when you light it, you can kind of like relax and try to escape, for a little bit. So I'll read my favorite one, tropical citrus. Exotic tropical fruits combine to make this delicious scent. It will have you feeling like you're sitting underneath a palm tree somewhere on a beach. So it just kind of like helps you to kind of get in that mindset.
Yeah, it
of
sets the
relaxation.
scene.
Yeah.
When you light it, you set the scene, you opened up your mind's eye,
Yes.
get ready to just embrace all the senses,
Yes.
the smell, and then try and visualize it. I love that.
Thanks.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they're fun to make.
So how did you come up with these different scents for the summer? Because there's, even for every season, I know it's kind of hard to continue to come up with new scents
Right.
all the time, right? So
Yeah. So there's so many like different, as I did research with everything, there's so many different fragrance oil suppliers like, across the United States. There are a few, 2 that are actually local, but I don't really use them as much just because my thought process was that other candle makers in the area probably use them. So I wanted to try to find ones that aren't maybe as commonly used around here. So I have different suppliers I use, and which is nice. This one I think the one I use is in Georgia, but they will have like for each season like a big variety pack, so then you can just try out different ones. I usually will smell at least like 20 or so for each season, then try to narrow it down from
Wow.
there. Go through them all a few times. Like there's some that initially I'm just like, oh, that's awful, that smell, like for me at least, and I think other people also wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But I just try not to do anything like too strong smelling that it kind of like, as soon as you open up, it like hits you across the face with the smell. So yeah, I just kind of narrow it down, and then I try to add ones that were more like just, beach, like what I think of when I grew up going to the Jersey Shore, like ocean driftwood, kind of just like, thinking of the waves, the sand, I guess driftwood actually is a thing. And then ones that are more like tropical, kind of appeal to different preferences and where people might go in the summer.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
So how many scents, so you've just started in September of
Last 2021, last
21.
year. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So how many scents do you have to date?
I have, I think, at least 30 now, and it kind of goes up and down because after each, like, so summer will wrap, like, I guess the fourth season of 1 year, because I started in fall, so I went through fall, Christmas, summer, spring, and now summer. So it kind of depends. I try to have at least 4 scents for each season, but then based on kind of like the sales and what was more popular, I might not, like for example, like next summer, if there's one that didn't sell at all, maybe I'll swap that out for a different one or add more.
Okay.
So I have at least 30 right now.
Okay, awesome. So are all of these candles available at your Etsy shop?
Yeah, so Etsy's my main selling platform. I usually I still have my spring ones up, but after the end of this month, I'll take them down. So usually for each season, I'll have them up for, like, for example, summer, I'll probably keep up till even the end of September, because then that once it gets to fall, like, I put my previous scents on sale, just to try to, whatever I have in stock to get that moving.
Yeah, free up some space for inventory.
Yeah, so usually at the most, I usually have about like 15 cents at a time, because I usually just have like the current season and the previous season on Etsy. But if there's ever a scent, like sometimes there's one from the fall that people will message me about that they're like, can you send me a special order for that? So if you ever don't see it, like, I do still have the fragrance oil. I just don't have it published because, it's not that season. I also sell on Amazon Handmade, but that's not really as popular as the Etsy platform. And I also am in a few stores in Bucks County. I'm in Mama Hawk's in Peddler's Village, Scrambled, it's art gallery and gift shop in New Hope, and I recently started selling at Rise and Grind Cafe in Percy, which is a really cute cafe there. Yeah, and
That's awesome.
it.
Do you do like farmers markets and local events and do tables around that as well, or?
I haven't yet, but I know I should do that. It's kind of one of my goals. I also want to get more into wholesale as well, but yeah, definitely around the holidays, I'm sure I'll be doing, like, Christmas season. I haven't really done any yet for this summer, but
Okay.
I know that's also a good way to get
that's
out there.
It's
get your name
exciting
out there.
because it's still so early in
Right.
the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's only that was September. It was only a few months ago, not even a
Yeah.
full year yet.
Right.
So it's still early, and I think the beautiful part is that as you continue to learn and continue to grow,
Yeah.
everybody learns from experience.
Right.
So there's no such thing as failing. It's all just a learning experience, right?
Yes.
So, and even the successes are all learning experiences.
Right.
So that's what's so beautiful about it. So I'm really rooting for you. I'm excited.
Thank you so much.
Now
Yeah.
I'm curious. I want you to walk me through the process of how to actually make a candle, because I've never seen a candle being made or anything.
Sure.
I had that when I was a kid. I dipped my hand in like the cold water and then the wax, and then I do like the peace sign. And then,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was doing that.
Gotcha.
But walk me through, what is your process to actually make the candle from start to finish?
Sure. So it's actually, to me, it seems simple now that I know about it. I don't know explaining if it'll seem simple, but the most important thing is like the measurements and the temperatures. That's kind of like the key factors, but the actual process is pretty simple. So I just start out by measuring out my wax for how many candles I'm going to make and put it in a melting pot, it's called. It kind of looks like something you would use to make fondue. I still have like a standard one, or almost like a crock pot. If I get busier, I'll probably get one of those like bigger industrial size ones. But for now, I use a melting pot. And then you just melt your wax you want to heat it to up to 185. At least that's for soy wax. I don't know if that's for every wax, so don't quote me there. If you're going to experiment.
You are the soy wax specialist here.
Yes, only soy. So then once it gets, and then in the meantime, I get my jars and my wicks set up just so that they're ready to go, like put the wicks on, and then I measure out my fragrance oil. So I have all that ready to go because it's all about like temperatures, like you don't want it to drop too high or too low, the wax. So once the wax gets to about 185, you pour it in a pouring pitcher with a handle. I have a silver one, and you pour that in, and then you add in the fragrance oil, and I stir it for at least 2 minutes. There's all like anything on YouTube, like some people say only stir it for this, or someone will be like stir it for 10 minutes. Like it's, you just kind of do what makes the most sense for you. So you mix that in, and then for my specific wax that I use, and this is for the like specific soy wax, like not just soy wax in general, because there's all different soy waxes you can use, or like different brands. 160 seems to be the pouring temperature for me. So I have a heat gun, and once the wax drops to 160, then it's ready to pour into the jars, and then you just let them sit for at least 24 hours before you do anything to them, but generally they should probably sit, I would say, at least 2 weeks before being sold or anything, if not longer. But
Oh wow! So
yeah.
you're pouring these. So you'll make them on, say like a Monday, and then it'll be 2 weeks before, they dry out and are room temperature and safe for sale.
Yeah, I mean, technically you could like burn it within 24 hours, but it's not recommended.
Okay.
If you needed to, it would still work. It's just better if it like cures and sits a little bit longer.
Okay. So that way you get the full effect of the fragrance kind of
Yes.
settling in the entire candle.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Are the wicks special, or are they just regular cotton wicks?
Yeah,
or?
so that's another thing. There's all it's kind of like the waxes. There's so many different wicks. I just there's a website, I think it's called Candle Science, where like it's a supplier to educational website, and you put in like the wax you're using and everything, and then they recommend like natural wicks for that. So I use cotton wicks. They're supposed to be also clean burning and better for you than what's this other? Is it zinc? There's wicks that have zinc in it, which is also can be harmful. So hemp and cotton wicks are supposed to be the
anything
best.
with a heavy metal in it should probably not be burned.
Yes, exactly.
At least,
or traces of zinc.
Yeah, at least in a residential area, in a small room, you shouldn't be burning heavy metal. So.
Yes.
All right,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you started making something else now too, right?
Yes. So once you start making one thing, you kind of get curious about other things. So I noticed like a lot of people that make candles also start making soaps. So I wanted to just add something else, just to offer, if there's people that love candles and soaps, or just like soaps, just kind of expand on my brand. So I recently started making, very recently, cold process soaps, which I thought that was harder than candles actually, because candles it's just the wax and the fragrance oil, but soaps you can have like, I don't know, up to 10 different ingredients in there if you wanted to.
Wow.
So I found a recipe that was kind of in between. I think I have 5 different oils and butters mixed in. So I recently started doing that, and I'm just waiting for my professional photos for those and the summer scents before I put them on Etsy. So it should be sometime next week, but I'll put a post on my Instagram about it once they're available for purchase.
That's awesome. Can we get a sneak peek of what some of the scents for the soaps are going to be?
Oh, sure. So I can tell you them. There's 5 so far. Orange blossom, lavender vanilla, white tea and ginger, grapefruit jasmine, and sea salt.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like the grapefruit jasmine. Sounds really nice.
Yeah, it smells really good.
I love jasmine tea. That is probably one of my favorite
I don't
teas.
think I've ever actually had it, to be honest.
It's a light white tea.
Okay.
It's not too, like, black tea is kind of like a heavier taste.
Yeah.
This jasmine tea is so light and so refreshing, and it's really nice. So
I guess you don't have to add anything to it, really, right?
no, nothing at all. Don't drink the soap, but
Okay. Let me write that down.
Yeah. but yeah, jasmine tea is great. I'm excited. That I want to try that one. I think that would be great.
Oh.
So awesome. Well, Anna, I really appreciate you talking about the Lumberville Candle Company.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move into a section called the Big Three. So these are the 3 questions I ask everybody that comes onto the podcast. My first question is, what do you think makes Bucks County such a great place to live?
So I think there's a few things, but the main thing I would say is kind of like the landscape, and that there's the balance of all the farmlands and the countryside. I just love, driving down random country roads and looking at the houses and the farms. So like Ottsville is a lot of farms, but then you can also just drive like 20 minutes where I am to Doylestown and be in kind of like almost like a smaller metropolitan area, and go to restaurants and shopping and bars. So
Isn't it great? You have the borough on one side, and then you have the country and farmland and grassroots on the other side.
yes,
You really get the best of both worlds in this
Yes.
place. Plus, the location is prime because you have Philadelphia an hour south.
Yeah.
You have Manhattan an hour north. So
Right.
it's really just the wonderful like blend of everything. When you said to make your candles, you said like the melting pot. That's what Bucks County kind of feels like.
Yes. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I love
that.
it. What is your favorite restaurant in Bucks County?
Hands down, Pineville Tavern.
Pineville Tavern.
Yes.
Shout out to Pineville Tavern.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing to get there?
I kind of live for the buffalo chicken egg rolls. a
Ooh.
little bit. Yeah.
Those are
But-
fantastic.
Yes.
They're absolutely fantastic.
There's something like you can't try to make or replicate. Like you have to go there, and there's really nothing there I've had that I've never didn't love. So,
Yeah. The buffalo chicken egg rolls are probably like the go-to for myself too when I go to the Pineville. So
Yeah.
they're so good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Now I'm getting hungry. How far is that from here?
Yeah. And then my last question, Anna, is where can people find out more about you?
So right now the main social media platform I'm on is Instagram. So if you have any questions or anything, you can DM me. I check it all the time. And will be any information about new locations I'm at or new scents or anything like that. But you can always ask me questions there.
Awesome. Is it at the
Oh, sorry. I had Lumberville Candles.
at Lumberville
Yeah.
Candles with an S at the end?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Anna. I really
Sure.
appreciate you talking about your company and walking me through the process and really just being just a wonderful human being. And
Oh, thank you. You're so
and,
kind.
really, it sounds like you're genuinely trying to, you're doing something that you love and you're having a great time doing it and you're able to take care of your family and do everything that you can throughout it. So I'm so excited for what the future has for Lumberville Candles, and I'm really excited to see what scents you come out with next because they all sound fantastic.
Oh,
So, awesome. Thank you so much again, Anna. I am your host, Alex Neff, your real estate resource in Bucks County. And if you have any questions about Bucks County living, feel free to reach out anytime.